Beggars of Life is an American film that was released in 1928. It is based off of an autobiography book that was released in 1924, written by Jim Tully, titled Outside Looking In. Then in 1925, the story hit Broadway. Little side note on the Broadway show, this was James Cagney's debut in the entertainment industry. So me being a fan of James Cagney, I just had to point that out. Now, when it comes to the film, this film was recommended to me. This has Wallace Beery and Louise Brooks. And now, this film was actually released as both a sound and silent film. There was actually a recording of Wallace Beery singing in the film. Only the silent version exists. That, I mean, I don't know what happened to the sound version or what happened to the recording of Wallace Beery's song, but those do not exist. So yeah, very sad. Now, as for the story itself, it opens up with Wallace Beery's character, who plays a hobo, which I know a lot of people don't like hearing that word, but really, I don't understand what the big deal is, because really what a hobo is a migrant worker. They're traveling around looking for work. And so yeah, you can be mad. I never care. And but he is a hobo, and he comes to a house and he's asking for a handout. He's asking for food, and that he's willing to work for it. He comes inside the house and he sees a man, and he has been murdered. And then all of a sudden you see Louise Brooks' character step in, and she explains, "This is my dad. I had to do it." And Wallace Beery's character, Oklahoma Red, decides to help her run from the law. So she dresses up as a boy, and so it goes along with their story of running away from the law, him helping her to blend in. And so now I do have to admit that this was the first Louise Brooks movie that I ever saw. And I mean, I've heard of Louise Brooks and her, I mean, like, I was really little, she was still alive. And so I was still seeing her on TV and everything. But and then of course, when it was like the 10th anniversary of her death, they were doing things on TV as well. And so I knew Louise Brooks, but as for actually seeing her movies, I never actually did. This was the first one that I actually saw. And there are a lot of scenes with trains. She does her own stunts. They do some train hopping, is the best way to put it. She does her own stunts, and which I was very impressed. And which I would think, because of the fact that she was so famous, by this point, this is 1928, that they would have, especially with what she's wearing. She was wearing baggy clothes and she wore a hat. They could have put someone else in, but no, she did these dangerous stunts on her own. So that's her personality. to fit the authenticity of the whole idea of being in hobo camps and everything. They hired actual hobos as extras for this movie, and so I found that very interesting. Which actually, they did that quite a bit. You know, in the silent film era, they would want, especially Douglas Fairbanks, he wanted authenticity. So, but um, another little tidbit of information is there is a train wreck in this film, and it was at Carrizo. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I'm sorry if I'm not. Carrizo Gorge in California. That wreck is still there as far as I know. So those of you that are silent film enthusiasts and want to see a bit of silent film history, that train wreck is still there. Again, as far as I know. I don't know if they cleaned it up. And now I also know that Louise Brooks, there's a book that she wrote back in the 80s, and it was like her autobiography or her memoirs, I can't remember which one, and she talked about this movie. And so, but anyway, so as for the story, I couldn't really find, I mean, I found that Charlie Chaplin absolutely loved the play. Everybody loved the play. As for the movie, I couldn't really find any reviews for the movie. I did find where Louise Brooks really wasn't the first choice for this. They wanted someone else and everything. But yeah, I couldn't find any reviews for this movie. So I found more reviews for the play, which did fantastic. And but as for the movie, I wasn't finding much. And so yeah, this is based off of someone's actual life, Jim Tully. And so, and again, there was supposed to be a sound version. Wallace Beery sings, but both of those are gone. Very sad, unless at somebody finds it like in a basement or somewhere. Let's hope. Fingers crossed on that. And Louise Brooks performed her own stunts, and she talks about this movie in either her biography. I will check on that and talk about and confirm it in the description box for this. But anyway, this movie was recommended to me. It was the first Louise Brooks movie I have ever seen. So again, thank you for recommending this movie. It is Beggars of Life. It was released in 1928.